Yo, what is good? My anime faithful, what is good, yo? Guys, I am extremely excited about what's coming through Fairy Tail. Um, Absolutely beautiful looking art, beautiful looking animation as always in Fairy Tail, but one of the things that truly looked amazing was the potential gore that this animated studio can kind of put out. I mean, there's not a lot of studios that go to the extent to even show us like very bloody or people losing limbs and a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff they like to refrain from doing. Um, and this was like a surprising amount of blood in a show that usually is PG about how it goes about a lot of its fighting and a lot of its outcomes for bigger fights that powers are so strong now. You would think any fight would cause massive damage to anybody who was involved in them. But instead, they come out relatively unscathed, or uh, they come out looking like they had a truce or something along those lines. So it's always been a way of Fairy Tail, but with this week, what happened to August, man, like that doesn't happen nearly as much, which um, maybe that happened a little bit more in the manga, and they just didn't capitalize on it as much in the anime, or I'm just kind of letting it slip on how many occasions we've seen something like this happen where someone just gets straight opened up. So that was interesting in the least. Uh, but to start off, we have what's his face? We have August, a whole thing going on with August. We have a whole thing going on with um, Agnologia and Irene, and then we also have what was going on with Mavis and just getting her out of the Lacrima in general. So we're getting in all of these different like points of just information that when you start to look at it all, you start to wonder where all of it's going to start to end up or like take place because with Gajiel as well as being like I think Gajiel's part was probably the bigger part, which is why I want to talk about it and didn't mention it because I'm going to mention it now. Um, with him being able to absorb the Bane particles and it just being relatively like some base close to iron inside of it to at least, I mean, he's changing the poison into something that is usable to his body, which is iron or like steel, and yeah, he just goes off. But it definitely was rushed. You can tell it was rushed just by the way he kind of quickly ends the whole entire match by not even throwing any type of actual attacks, really, besides punches that are just powered by his either. I don't want to call it his Dragon Force because that would then say that the only way he could get Dragon Force is by absorbing Bane particles, which I feel like would definitely hurt his character's power. Because I mean, I don't think there's ever going to be any other characters just rolling around with Bane particles and then he randomly gets to fight them and once he takes them out, oh wow, I get these Bane particles and I get stronger finally, and then he has a reason to fight with that mode. So it seems like this was a tactical way of saying like, excuse me, um, this was just a tactical way of saying Gajiel used the Bane particles to gain his first encounter with his Dragon Force, which he was angry. He kind of got the Vegeta treatment with the whole my Kakarot and Trunks, two Super Saiyans, and I can't turn Super Saiyan. And then like Natsu's gone Dragon Force. The two other like Shadow and the White and the Light, I'm pretty sure they both went Dragon Force, that's the only reason why they had a chance against Natsu, or like the reason why they scared Natsu and Gajio when they were doing a team up fight. But then you look at it and you're like, oh, so they wouldn't have been nothing if they didn't have it, which even when they had it, they still got body, just going to show you how strong those two are. So with him finally reaching it, but using like, no one would recommend the method that he takes to do it, but it seemingly works, and he gets this power up and destroys the guy that is causing this. The only problem is now, um, once he does this, he's kind of stuck, with he's kind of stuck with the Bane particles, or like he's just stuck with everything that came out of that demon or whatever, and kind of has to deal with it. While that's happening, he's caught off guard because he's happy that he thinks he's defeated the guy when seemingly the guy did die, and he does like some technique to pull him in to where he was dying too. Seem like that's just my guess, because I mean, once it all happened, he's not there, and that's where I got my like. I was like, so if he's not there, because he could have just showed up there after doing this and then started fighting Panther Lily, the only person who could really hold back this woman from jumping into the abyss with Gajeel. And seeing him talk about the future and stuff like that definitely gives me hope that they actually do something with the future. I mean, they have a series that, if you want to listen to like the people who aren't even fans of the show anymore, and let them dictate how your show or the future of it not coming later on, then that's on them. But with people still really championing this series as a whole and actually wanting to see little Natsu and like a little Lucy and stuff like that, or even a little Gajeel and Levy, any of these characters can have kids that could grow up to be historically powerful. Like, imagine a Dragon Slayer with Levy's script. You know what I mean? Like, it's dumb to think of how powerful some of these combinations could be, which I always thought was where Fairy Tail was going until until I learned just how the fandom was reacting to it and how people truly were coming out and attacking it and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna really care that much for all of that. Unlike Naruto, which everybody was like crying and sobbing over the end game of Naruto Shippuden, you got people completely just like laughing at some of the stuff that happens at the end of Fairy Tail for some reason. So we will get there and see how the anime adaptates, like does whatever they can do with the ending of this, and hopefully everybody is excited like I am for it. But at the same time, just be ready to be very, very, I don't know, like just expect fairy tale stuff to happen. That's all I can say. Um, Not to mention, the best thing that was so fairy tale this week was this woman Eileen, yeah, Eileen. Uh, she was pretty much using magic that doesn't even exist from 400 years ago, which for some reason I thought August might be stronger than her, but with her using stuff like this, no, I think. Well, maybe. I think maybe this attack that she's using, it doesn't seem like it's an offensive attack. It looks like it's just something that is, when she uses it, it changes everything. It's not gonna hurt Agnologia. Not to mention in the previews, all of a sudden Zeref is like face to face with Mavis, and uh, a lot of the Fairy Tail members are like with people that they weren't with. So I'm guessing that it has some type of property to like switch them around as well. So not only was she dealing with Agnologia being in her face, she already had like planned this attack ahead of time like a smart person, and just well, every fighting move seemingly was a move to get Agnologia to stand where she needed him to, which is pretty fire on the case of just much this how much this woman like could do by herself in Zeref's army. That it's actually like super scary. Someone that Zeref is actually afraid of being Agnologia, or at least like being intimidated by him to the fact that he thinks he can't beat him without more power, and he's immortal. Uh, just kind of goes to show you that there was a whole nother like power level out there with Agnologia, and he just hasn't been able to uh, tap into it. You know, he hasn't been able to show us the necessary power up or the necessary reasoning for him to go out of his way to attack. And now that Agnologia is looking to have some fun, I expect that man to, or half monster man, we learned that from this woman. It seems like Agnologia was human at one point, which does coincide with, I believe, what Ignis said about Agnologia is he was human. So I mean, it wasn't shocking to hear that from her, and I mean it's probably more shocking for him to hear about it from her, and probably just be more annoyed about it than anything. Um, but yeah, overall, the best thing that came out was Agnologia and her fighting, but it definitely ended with her just using some ridiculous magic that even made Zarev's eyes just like pop out of his head. He's like, "Oh God, did she really do it? She did. Universe one." I was like, "Oh God, a universal spell?" But I mean, from what I can see, she said she's went as far as like the whole like a whole country pretty much at this point, you know. So she's going for broke, and even Zareth is quite surprised that she's doing it. So I can't wait to see what that plays out to. And the other thing being August and the whole memory planting thing, I thought that was so dumb. That was so dumb, man. I was really let down with that whole plot that he had. I mean, I understand you think a knife should be able to kill him. Like, I good on you, man. You brought a knife to a magic fight, you know. But at the same time, to do it like that and seeing how everything was going kind of well, you still go through with whatever idiotic thing you thought was just gonna end all be all. I mean, we've seen Natsu get hurt by worse, and this man is stronger than Natsu just by being in his presence. You can tell he's stronger than Natsu, and you think a knife would take out Natsu ever, ever? Nah, bruh. Nah. um, I thought that was funny. I thought it was really funny that he thought that would work, and even worse, he used the one person that, supposedly could get close. I get that. But you used the one person he actually cared about, and now she literally she was like experiencing it because she started crying and saying grandpa, like she knew what was going on in a certain matter. And yeah, I don't agree with that fool's choice, which sends August in a frenzy, which almost seems like he kills Happy. I mean, Happy might have just got bodied because of this dumb guy, and if Happy got bodied, I think we know why Natsu would get a power up to be able to defeat this guy who's already been stabbed, so he's probably really weak. But at the same time, I honestly don't think Natsu beats him right now, even even in the state that he's in right now. So yeah, I honestly want to see what's about to pop off with August. Not to mention, I think the fight might end just because of what Irene did. I think everything that's going on is going to end, and new stuff is going to begin. So because of one person on the battlefield casting one move, everybody's going to feel what comes after, you know. So that's pretty ridiculous to me to think that there's someone with that much influence on the battlefield. Because even Makarov was outside of the guild in the previews, straight up fighting people, you know, like outside. So somehow that she got him out of the Fairy Tale Guild, or you know, somehow they get him out of the guild to go and fight like hand to hand. So can't wait. I honestly can't wait. Not to mention we are getting Demon Slayer and another show that's quite fun on Saturdays. So if those shows are long and this show and Fairy Tale ends anytime soon, we still have some really good Saturday shows that we get to talk about. So I'm glad that is a thing. So with that, everybody, I hope you have a good night, evening, morning, whatever the case it may be when you're watching this. I am the Anime J. Hold on, let me go show you who I am real quick. And I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, because man, it's been pretty nice lately, and I want to thank you guys so much for all the subscribes recently. I can't put into words how much I am appreciative of it, but I'll show you by daily uploads and putting out my true honest feeling on things. So with that being said, I'll talk to you in the next one. All right, peace.